mushroom ragu. Tiny kitchen, big kitchen, but we want big flavors. And this is one of those simple ragu preparations, mushroom ragu, lots of it. And we'll begin with some onions. Let's get the onions in there. Let's put some olive oil. Let me put some butter in here. Dough scraper just helps you so much collect everything you have on your cutting board. Here I have some shallots. Try to get the larger one, and usually, you know, the good thing is you cut it on one side and the other, then you stabilize it like this in half, and then you go across. The onions take longer to cook than the shallots. The shallots cook quicker, and they're good because they disintegrate in the sauce and give you that really good oniony flavor into the sauce. Add a little bit of salt, and I'm going to cut the mushrooms. For this ragu, any mushroom, one kind of mushrooms will be fine. But if you can mix it up a little bit, the better the ragu will be. You have some oyster mushrooms here, which are beautiful, and the oyster mushroom usually are attached to a stem, and usually the stems are a little bit tough, so make sure that you cut that off. This is a delicious mushroom, a king trumpet mushroom, very good. A little expensive, but very good, absolutely. So how would I cut this? Like this, like this, okay. Mushroom really cuts down, it's a lot of water because that's what mushrooms are. And they cook and retract, but that's where the flavor is. When you cook them and the water comes out, the flavor really comes out. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt to season it, and I'm going to put a little bit of stock here I have. Chicken stock or whatever stock you have. If you don't have stock, water is fine. And I'm going to let it slowly release the water, and I'm gonna put a cover here so they cook out. And what am I gonna add to the mushrooms? First of all, this sachet, I have bay leaves, sage, I have rosemary, and I have thyme. So a nice selection of different fresh herbs. And just, you roll it, roll it, roll it, and you can just tie it in itself and throw it in. And as this kind of steeps and cooks and simmers, it will release its flavors through this. So let's put that in. Let me give it a mix. To add more mushroom flavor, dry porcini. I couldn't think of a kitchen without Italian kitchen that is, without dry porcini. So you get the dry porcini and you soak them in hot water or hot stock. You pull them out, kind of drain them a little bit, just like that. And this will add a real punch of flavor to whatever you're cooking. So let's add the mushrooms right in here. And I'm gonna save this because I'm gonna use that as well. So I'm gonna make a little hot spot. You know, I like my hot spot, especially for my tomato paste. Put the tomato paste right there and let it kind of just get a little toasty here, because when you toast spices or something like a tomato paste, it really adds another dimension. It brings another dimension of flavor, and then you mix it all together. To this, I will add the liquid of the mushrooms that I soaked. And be careful, because mushrooms, even the dry mushrooms, have a little bit of dirt or whatever, and you can always find it on the bottom. So always leave a drop like that and toss that away. And I will add some Marsala wine. Marsala wine comes from Sicily. It's a fortified, aged wine, and it goes very well with the mushrooms. So let's add Marsala. I think half of this will suffice. So basically, this is the sauce. We'll let it cook for about 20 minutes, like this, and then we'll make a little polenta to go with it. Buongiorno. Welcome to my library. This is where I read your emails, watch your videos, and answer you. So here's an email. It's got a picture from Lori, and she writes that I inspired her in making the stuffed mushrooms in the pictures she sent. Let me take a look. Oh, those mushrooms look good, Lori. Very nice. Thanks for writing in, Lori. The sauce is just about ready. I think it's time to cook the polenta. And we're gonna cook instant polenta. So polenta, that'll take about 8 minutes. And I'm gonna put some oil in the water, a little bit of salt, and I'm gonna go get some bay leaves. My little bay leaf tree, my beautiful bay leaf tree. 3 leaves is fine. Oh, another one came off, so I'll put 4 leaves. Put them right in. That gives a lot of flavor to the polenta. Dry bay leaves are okay. You just have to be careful because dry bay leaves, they crack into little pieces and they're dangerous. So make sure that however many you put in of dry leaves, you pull them out. And we're gonna slowly put the polenta in. And this is instant polenta, a pioggia, like the rain, it says in Italian. And you mix, 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 because you don't want it to form the grumoli, as we say, the little lumps. This way, as it's coming in, as it's flowing, you are breaking it apart. Here we go. And you mix, mix, mix. The polenta, you know, it's like a porridge. So it gets denser and denser. And as you can see, it begins to plop, just like a volcano, like lava. Zoom, 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 zoom from the heat from the bottom. For the mushrooms, I think I like a nice dense polenta, a nice mound. You know, I come from Friuli, Venezia Giulia, all the way up north. And we are called polentoni. Polentoni, that means that we eat a lot of polenta, and we do. Like the Tuscans are called mangiafagioli. They eat a lot of beans. Okay, so I'm going to continue to whisk it on and off, and we're going to be ready to eat. Here is another email. Mary writes, what's the best way to clean mushrooms? Well, it seems simple, but it's a good question, Mary. Mushrooms usually are pretty clean. The important thing is you cut off the stem and wherever the dirt is, and then you take a paper towel and you lightly wet it. You sort of clean the stem and you clean the cap. Do not soak them in water. Don't give them an opportunity to take in, to absorb the water, because then they become very watery. Thanks, Mary. I'm checking everything is done. The polenta is ready. The mushroom ragu. Let me pull out the sachet. So I'm gonna flavor the polenta a little bit. Let's do the butter. And sometimes if you dress the polenta just like this, butter and some cheese, it could be the main course itself because it is so delicious. You can just put on top maybe a nice piece of gorgonzola or something, and it could be a meal in itself. And you know what? Polenta also keeps well. If you don't use it all, you put it in a little Pyrex, cover it with saran wrap, put it in the refrigerator, and it's good for the next day or the day after. Just like that. And I have the sauce, which looks delicious, and I'm gonna plate it for you. I am going to mount it in the center, just like that. The aroma of polenta just takes me right back to my childhood. Well, the smell of polenta does it every time for me. Grandma used to cook it often. It was inexpensive. Whatever she had, even a little bacon, rendered bacon on top of polenta with some cheese, was delicious. Now, let's put the mushroom on. I always use my little plate. And here is the mushroom sauce. You see, diverse mushrooms, delicious. And again, so you don't dribble all over the place. And you don't have to smother the polenta with the sauce. You put whatever is left or whatever you have extra on the side, on the table. And as they're digging into the polenta, they can add some more sauce. And of course, Lydia, and a little mushrooms. And these are the plates for you. Put a chunk of cheese at the table, and let them grate some additional cheese. There's some in there. Now, I have to taste this. Fantastic, just like silk. And with this, a nice red wine with character, just like polenta, just like us polentoni, we have character. You have to make it because it is so delicious.